Ciao, good morning. We are still in the Puglia region, but we're doing something different today. We're heading to a cooking class. Each region in Italy has its own distinct character and its food culture. So we're going to go to a class today to learn more about it and try and master it so that we can take those skills with us on our Italian adventure. They've told us to expect a 6-hour class today. So that can help us offset the fact that we're running half an hour late. For once, I'm a chance at not spilling shit on my shirt or ruining my shirt.
So we will use onion for tomato sauce and garlic for the vegetable. Because it has anchovies, allora just browning a little bit with tomato sauce. We don't choose garlic because on onion it has a round taste. You know, it has a sweet taste, like tomatoes, so they can go together. That's it, nothing else.
Ready. And then ready.
Yeah.
5 hours.
Yeah, it's very easy.
And how long does it cook now?
It will cook for 1 hour and a half, più o meno. Yeah, more or less, with low fire. Yeah. Later, after cooking, then I will put some basil leaves and some salt, and then we'll come back here many times to control if it reduces too much. So this one I made 4 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, they're quite raw. Sorry, I have to use this. So here tomatoes have to produce, how can I say, the skin produce wrinkle.
Yeah.
Verughe. When the skin makes wrinkle, it's quite ready and you can add the other ingredients. So another secret is not putting the ingredients all together. Never. So all ingredients, they have to be cooked one by one. Sì, one by one. Allora, and to prepare passata di pomodoro, to prepare the puree, so we prepare a big quantity. We prepare it at the end of August because it's the end of the vegetation period, the tomatoes vegetation period. And we use San Marzano tomatoes, you know? It's a big tomato. So this one is San Marzano but cut into 4 parts. It's a big tomato, you see, with a shape like a pear. A very big tomato. That it was produced, cultivated here in Puglia, in a town close to Taranto, that is called San Marzano. Sì. So the tomatoes has the name of the place in which it was cultivated. And I buy 250 kilos. Wow. So I can have around 200 jars, 220 this year. Yeah. We put tomatoes in the boiling water, and the boiling water for a few minutes. So the boiling water let the skin break. And after cooking for a few minutes, then we put tomatoes on this one, on this instrument that is called the shaya. But this is just an example to show you. It's made by bamboo, and we use this during summertime to prepare food for winter, to dry food, to use the sun to dry food. After boiling, we put tomatoes here with the skin broken, and we let stay for 2 minutes, just the time that it loses water. It is important for tomatoes to lose water and to avoid the water to prepare the tomato sauce. Then we put tomatoes here and turning. Seeds and skins remain here, and the sauce comes out from here. Then we put in the jars. We put here, we close them, and then we boil them. So we have gridiron tanks in which we put all the jars, and then we boil for half an hour. And the boiling produces the vacuum. So it seals
the pot.
See, and it absorbs the oxygen from inside. So there was no more oxygen. That's why it can be kept for so long. Sono le anchovies. Alici.
E quando ne metto?
Allora, it could be 2 per persons, but then follow your heart.
Yeah, so it's always instinct and it's always me.
And another secret to know why we cook the tomato sauce for so long is that if you see now, can you see the olive oil is still yellow, liquid, and while turning it slips on the pan. Cooking for so long, you will see that olive oil will become orange. And so we can say that cooking for so long, olive oil just melt a little bit with tomato sauce. You know that olive oil, it's a liquid that doesn't join with other liquids. No? But in this way, they will melt a little bit. And then you can see the semola. The flour is yellow. It has just a yellow color, a light yellow color. And it is not important to know which kind of grains. So there are 3 different varieties. But it is important to know that one of them, it produces 50% less gluten. So, yeah.
Is that good or bad?
Good. Yeah, it's healthier. And this one is very particular.
Is that chestnut?
No. The name is grano arso, and the translation is the burnt wheat. So this one is linked to a particular history, and it's linked to our poorness. And I will speak you a lot about our poorness. I'm sorry, it's a little bit sad, but it's part of our identity because we were very poor. And we have this kind of food and these recipes because we were poor. From the first millennia to almost the end of the 19th century. And it was a period during which the noble families considered themselves as kings. So they owned huge areas. Just to simplify the history, they owned huge areas, and in their areas they considered themselves as kings, and they had their own laws, their own rules. Sometimes there were borders too, to go from one territory to another one, and you needed a kind of passport to go. And the peasants and the population that lived in that area were treated as slaves. They were very poor, and they had to work for the noble family, who can give them part of their field to cultivate. But for cultivating, the people, they had to cultivate, to pay for cultivating, and to give to the noble families the 50% of their production. So they were very poor. And to have some wheat, to produce wheat, it was just the noble families who could do, because you need a big field, no? But the peasants worked in the field to collect grains, to have flour. And when in July we harvest crops to make flour, we were used to make it by hands. Before the Industrial Revolution arrived and machines, blah, blah, blah. We were used to pick up by hands, this part of the grain, of the crops. And we left the stem in the field. And after collecting, we burned the field as they are doing. We burned the field just to clean it very quickly. And the peasants, after burning, they went in the field to collect all the lost grains to have some flour for free.
Wow.
And beetroots.
Okay, what a bit. Cool.
See, so we can make the green and the red orecchietta and the white one, and we will have the Italian flag.
Beautiful.
Larger, the measure. Yeah, we were speaking about that.
Yeah, no.
The measure is 1 handful per person or 1 cup. How much? It's a question.
All of this. Okay.
See. This one is more dense, so it's
more.
easier. You can put more. Yeah.
Troppo poco?
and then stretch on your fingers. So it has to produce bubbles. Don't look at here because with my thumbs I stretch it more too much. But here, no, in the middle, we can see that it has produced bubbles.
Yeah, right.
So it doesn't break, but it makes just bubbles. Cut a piece. Just a small piece because there's the north wind and today it will dry immediately. And roll it on the board to have a shape like a snake, whose thickness should be more or less like your last finger.
Must be.
Fantastico! Now I will show you the movements and the way in which we make orecchietta. But I explain. So cut a piece more or less 1 centimeter long. Then blade is on board, and squeeze the dough on the blade. Tail the knife and begin rolling. Roll almost till the end, just leaving a small piece of pasta here to stay attached on knife. Put on your thumbnail and with these fingers, flip it inside out.
Und dann rollst du es. It is?
And then that one goes over here. Just like Nonna used to make.
No, devi andare ancora. Senza schiacciare. Apri completamente il bordo.
Bene.
This is our typical hard bread. It's completely dried and it contains no more water. And to obtain this result, we prepare first of all the dough, as we have just done for the orecchietta, but it's flour, water and yeast. And then after working the dough and let it growing, we do the snake, we roll the snake and we close the snake. Eccolo. Yeah, here it is, the snake. Yeah. Leaving the hole, that is important. I will explain you why. And we bake it twice. The first time, then the entire bowl like this at the temperature of 180 degrees and for 40 minutes. Then we take them out. We cut into two pieces and we bake them again at the same temperature and for the same time. And this is the result. So no more water and it can be kept for very long. Because there was no fridge there years ago, decades ago, so they needed to prepare food to keep it. And the hole is important because we were used to put frisella in this way, then to pass a thread and to keep them hanged up. So now the modern frisella has no hole more because we are not used to keep them hanged up no more. Yeah. And to eat the frisella, we have to put in the water.
Really?
See, because it's very hard and very crunchy. It will be very crunchy. So count 3-4 seconds. It depends how soft do you prefer it and on your teeth. And then traditionally, we put on frisella this mix of tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, salt and oregano. Traditionally, but now you can put everything as well. What do you prefer? And use the soup also, that is beautiful. Right, io me ne faccio giusto mezza. And now that it's becoming soft, this is something that you won't find in a restaurant. That's why I've chosen this appetizer. Because now that it's becoming soft, and while eating, and the only way is eating into the traditional way, so only using hands, while eating it will break and tomatoes will fall down, so it's not indicated for etiquette.
Very small.
These are called trulli of Alberobello, and they are one of our typical buildings. They belong to an area that is very small in Puglia, that is just 25 kilometers wide, and it goes from Ceglie Messapica, the town where I live, towards Alberobello, that is over there. And you can find the trulli only in this area that is 25 kilometers wide. And they are called trulli of Alberobello just because Alberobello, the town, it has become the town symbol of the trulli. But Alberobello was built only, into brackets, in the 15th century, while the trulli are older than the town. They are very old. They were built millennia ago, even if we don't know when and where they were built for the first time. We just know that they were linked to the geomorphology of Puglia, so how our land is composed, and to our way of cultivating. Here we have just like this of soil and under kilometers of karstic rocks. This one. And when it rains, now it washes away the soil and rocks come out. If we want to cultivate here, we have to break all rocks to have some soil. And people did millennia ago. They broke the rocks and put them in a corner of the field to cultivate. But then there were so many rocks that they decided to do something with them. And they began building the dry walls and the trulli. A trullo, in the very beginning, it was just a small room, like this one. This is the bathroom. And the trullo was just this one in the origin. Then they developed, they added other cones, and they became bigger. And finally, at the end, millennia after, they became houses. So they were linked to our way of cultivating because we spent the entire day in the countryside for cultivating or with animals. So they felt the need to protect themselves from the sun or during winter time. Now, you know, we have long summer with very high temperatures. So they felt the need to protect themselves and they began building these buildings. They're made just by stones, nothing else. But they were also influenced by the Syrian culture. You know, there were the ice era, le ere glaciali. In some of this era, the level of the Mediterranean Sea was so low that Puglia was connected directly to Albania and Greece. So, yeah. So people, animal, and also the Asian culture came here, arrived here, and influenced our culture, and influenced also the shape of the trulli. In fact, the name of trulli comes from the Greek tolos, and the Greeks were used to call tolos the Syrian houses. So that's why they have the same name. So a trullo is composed by the base, the cone, and the pinnacle, the last stone. And under our feet, there's no room, but just rocks. And these are the external walls of the trulli that grows all around the trullo, reaching the wider area here that is more than 2.5 meters. Then this is the bathroom, and from here it begins the internal wall. And inside we have another wall that is 1.5 meters. So the entire wall of a trullo is around 4 meters wide. And we have learned to build these very wide walls because till the Neolithic period, so till 10,000 years ago, we were used to live in the natural caves. You should have felt the atmosphere, the temperature inside, it changes. So inside a trullo, we have a temperature that is constant all during the year and goes from 16 to 19 degrees, più o meno. And it reacts to the external temperature. When out is hot, inside is cold. When out is cold, inside it warms. To build the cone, we use the biggest rocks that you see on the drywall, on top of drywalls, and we cut them to have this rectangular shape. And we put the rocks in this way, you see? So we could have the conic shape, but not only, because thanks to the rocks in this way, you can climb the trullo. This become ladders. Yeah. So you can go up. And it was important to go up and to climb the trullo. First of all, to control each stone, because without using Malta, they can move and the trullo can collapse. So to control each stone, it is important to climb, but also for another reason, to paint them. Then the last element is the pinnacle. It is called in this way because it reminds to the pine cone, the symbol of the pine cone. That is a very ancient symbol of fertility all over the world. And have you seen in Alberobello that every cone has a different pinnacle shape? Yeah. There's another trullo over there with a different pinnacle shape. That one is round and celebrates the sun, il rotondo. Then in Alberobello there are half moon, stars with 5 points, with many points, hammer, crosses. There are many symbols. And the painting, the symbols painted on the cones. Together, in superstition, they were used to chase evil spirits. Because in the south, we are very connected to magic. We have a lot of legends among the others about witches. And it is also said that the werewolves were born here.
Oh, mamma mia!
Extra cheese?
Those are your favourite words, aren't they? Extra cheese. Is that good?
Oh, it's just so good.
So this one is with the, what's the vegetable called again?
Italian pack.
Cime di rapa.
Cime di rapa. Italian bok choy.
The English translation, is broccoli rub or rapini.
Ah, sì.
Jam, I don't know. And some almonds.
Simona, noi ci sentiamo. L'email tua ce
Io sono italiano.
Ok, me la mandi.
I am Italian.
Italiana. Sentire
Io sono italiana, grazie mille Daniela. Ciao Simona. That was wonderful.
That was a really great way to spend the day.
Yeah.